Good afternoon and welcome to Business Spotlight on MITV Plus, where we bring you business news and interesting conversations and discussions around the business fair. I am Layo Shobo Folorunsho, and delving straight into the stories. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has stated that Nigeria is set to attract nearly $20 billion in foreign direct investments by 2026 as a result of ongoing economic reforms aimed at boosting investor confidence and improving the business environment. The president stated this during the Africa CEO Forum in Kigali, Rwanda. Our correspondent brought us the details, as you must have seen earlier. Meanwhile, the federal government said unremitted value-added tax, VAT, or withholding tax would henceforth be deducted directly from the revenue due to the affected states and local government, as well as ministry, department, or agencies, MDAs. The move, according to the government, is aimed at compelling government entities to lead by example to individuals and businesses. The executive director, Large Taxpayers and Government Directorate, Nigerian Revenue Service, Amina Ado, stated this on Tuesday in Abuja at the opening of a national workshop organized by the Nigerian Revenue Service. She said it has been observed that while many subnational entities are exemplary in their civic duties, there are still some significant structural leakages, especially in the prompt deduction of and delay in the remittance of VAT and withholding tax. We take a quick break now. When we return, we bring you more business news. To stay with us.
No limits.
Welcome to the Africa Magic Viewers' Choice Award.
This isn't a reset.
It's an evolution.
Arsenal at the top of the Premier League table.
We're going to build our paradise here on earth.
Looks up and he makes contact with his old rival.
Moments turn into memories, history into legacy.
Anything can happen.
From 11 June to 19 July, everything can wait. The FIFA World Cup 2026. Catch all 104 matches on 4 dedicated channels, live on SuperSport, only on DSTV.
You're welcome back. It's still Business Spotlight on MITV Plus, and back to the first story, where President Bola Tinubu stated that Nigeria is set to attract nearly $20 billion in foreign direct investment by 2026 as a result of ongoing economic reforms aimed at boosting investor confidence and improving the business environment. The president stated this during the CEO Forum in Kigali, Rwanda, and our correspondent Folashade Abdusalami filed in the details of the report.
Tinubu said Nigeria's economic reforms are yielding positive results and positioning the country as a leading investment destination in Africa. Speaking during a panel session at the ongoing Africa CEO Forum in Kigali, President Tinubu projected that Nigeria could attract close to $20 billion in foreign direct investment by 2026. The president explained that his administration has introduced critical reforms centered on transparency, operational efficiency, and investor-friendly policies aimed at attracting more foreign capital into the country. He also noted that several long-standing bottlenecks discouraging investors are also being removed to improve ease of doing business and encourage sustainable economic growth. President Tinubu further called on African nations to strengthen economic cooperation, expand intra-Africa trade using local currencies, and focus on adding value to the continent's abundant raw materials.
A risk taker like a Dangote refinery must be encouraged by the government and power. What I did, support him, gave him free trade zone license, support him in the effort to source the crude that is necessary. And today he is the exporter, net exporter of both the PMS, aviation fuel, and other commodities.
President Tinubu emphasized that while private sectors provide capital and technical expertise, governments across Africa must create an enabling environment and reduce investment risk to drive industrial growth and economic transformation. He urged African leaders to move beyond rhetoric and forge stronger partnerships for the effective utilization of the continent's vast resources.
Where we can trade with one another, removing all the bottlenecks, giving you necessary incentives for direct foreign investment into the country. This year alone, I can beat my chest that Nigeria is attracting close to $20 billion foreign direct investment. It's because unwind the bottlenecks, be efficient, be transparent.
The Africa CEO Forum continues in Kigali with discussions focused on investment opportunities, regional integration, industrialization, and strategies for accelerating economic development across Africa. For Lashadi Abdusalami, MITV Plus News.
The Monetary Policy Committee MPC of the Central Bank of Nigeria has voted to retain the monetary policy rate at 26.5% following its 305th meeting, which recorded the attendance of 11 members. The governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Olayemi Cardoso, who spoke at the end of the committee's two-day meeting on May 19 and 20, said the committee retained the standing facilities corridor around the MPR at 50 got to 450 basis points. The committee maintained all key policy parameters at their current levels, signaling a continued cautious stance on inflation management and broader microeconomic stability. Cash reserve requirement, CRR, for deposit money banks was retained at 45.00%, merchant banks at 16%, and 75% for non-TSA public sector deposits. After suffering one of the weakest performances on the Nigerian Exchange Limited in 2025, investors in industrial goods equities are reaping massive gains as the sector emerged as the best performing index on the exchange within a year-to-date gain of 118.55%. The unprecedented rebound marks a major turnaround for the sector, which had posted a negative return of 4.58% during the corresponding period in 2025 amid severe foreign exchange losses, surging energy costs, and inflationary pressures that impacted. Data from the exchange showed that as of close of transactions on May 15, 2026, the industrial goods index surpassed every other major sectoral index on the market, reflecting renewed investor confidence driven by stronger corporate earnings, improved dividend payout, and easing pressure from foreign exchange volatility. A breakdown of the indice's performance indicated that the industrial index outperformed the oil and gas index, which recorded 118.24% growth. The all share index appreciated by 60.87%, while the banking index advanced by 57.66%. The consumer goods index gained 26.34%, while the insurance index posted a relatively modest increase of 6.61%. The National Drugs Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, on Wednesday said it dismantled what it described as a sophisticated Nigerian-Mexican methamphetamine production syndicate operating from a clandestine laboratory hidden deep inside a forest in Ogun State. The operation, carried out by operatives of the agency's Special Operations Unit, SU, led to the arrest of 10 suspects, including the alleged kingpin, 3 Mexican nationals, and 6 Nigerian collaborators. It also led to the seizure of methamphetamine and chemical substances valued at over 480 billion naira. The NDLEA boss disclosed that operatives stormed the forest laboratory on May 16, catching members of the cartel off guard while processing illicit substances. Marwa further disclosed that another tactical team simultaneously raided the Lekki residence of the alleged cartel leader, where he was arrested. The National Environment Standards and Regulations Enforcement Agency has sealed off Fortune Rice Mills Limited in Kano State over alleged non-compliance with environmental regulations. This comes after complaints from residents about dust emissions and offensive odor from the facility. The enforcement action carried out on Monday was led by the Northwest Zonal Director of the agency, Dr. Mudashiru Rahim, after investigations confirms violations of the National Environmental Air Quality Control Regulations 2014 and the National Environmental Food, Beverages and Tobacco Sector Regulations 2023. According to the agency, the action followed repeated compliance notices issued to the company, which were allegedly ignored despite concerns over its impact of operations on public health and the environment. Nigerian business magnate Aliko Dangote has joined strategic investment discussions at Sanford Advances plans to expand its presence in Tanzania and Ethiopia, signaling growing investor confidence in East Africa's economic potential. The high-level engagement held in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, brought together government officials, investors, and business leaders to explore partnerships aimed at accelerating industrial development, infrastructure, growth, and regional economic integration. Meetings at the State House in Ikulu focused on opportunities across key sectors, including manufacturing, energy, logistics, technology, and real estate development. Industry observers say Dangote's involvement underscores increasing interest by African investors and multinational partners in strengthening intra-African trade and supporting large-scale development projects across the continent. Tanzania continues to attract investors due to its strategic geographic position, stable business environment, and access to regional markets in East and the Central Africa. And still on Dangote, its industries has commenced preliminary processes for the construction of a deep-sea port spanning over 10,000 hectares at a local free trade zone in Ogun State as part of plans to expand into logistics, maritime infrastructure, and export-led industrialization. In a statement, the company said the multi-billion-dollar project is aimed at transforming the group into a globally recognized industrial and manufacturing leader as a core component of its Vision 2030 agenda. The proposed deep sea port, located in Ogun Waterside local government area of Ogun State and extending toward Ilaje local government area of Ondo State along the Atlantic coastline, is expected to serve as a logistic and industrial hub for export, import, and regional trade. A delegation from the company, led by the Managing Director, Infrastructure and Logistics, Dangote Industries, Captain Jamil Abubakar, visited host communities in Ogun and Ondo State to commence stakeholder engagement ahead of the project's execution. Bilateral trade between Africa and Europe could reach $1 trillion over the next decade by integrating value chains and a revitalized trade corridor, a recent report has said. As the global economy undergoes a fundamental shift towards a multipolar landscape, a report from Boston Consulting Group (BCG) has highlighted the strategic need to revitalize the Africa-Europe corridor. Titled Strengthening the Africa-Europe Corridor Strategic Imperative in a Multipolar World, the report revealed that deliberate and well-orchestrated value chain integration could double bilateral trade from $545 billion today to $1 trillion over the next decade. A joint resilience and growth agenda of this nature would both accelerate Africa's industrialization while strengthening Europe's competitiveness. Africa and Europe are long-standing partners with deep economic and cultural ties underpinned by geographic proximity and complementary socio-economic dynamics. However, the report highlights that the corridor has lost momentum in the last few decades. And back to Lagos State, the state government has intensified efforts to position the state as Africa's leading tourism, entertainment, and creative economy hub through strategic investment in cultural festivals, heritage preservation, tourism, infrastructure, and international collaborations aimed at driving economic growth and global visibility. Speaking on Wednesday during the 2026 ministerial press briefing to mark the third year of the second term of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu's administration, the Commissioner for Tourism, Art and Culture, Mrs. Toke Benson Awoyinka, said the administration had continued to leverage tourism, arts, entertainment, and culture as strategic tools for socio-economic development under the Themes Plus agenda, particularly the entertainment and tourism pillar. The commissioner added that Lagos recorded major milestones within the last 1 year through landmark festivals, creative industry expansion, tourism-driven engagement, and heritage conservation initiatives that further strengthen the state's reputation as Africa's entertainment and tourism capital. Meanwhile, Lagos State also intensified oversight and performance monitoring across its parastatals and government-owned agencies as part of sweeping reforms aimed at boosting revenue generation, enforcing accountability, and strengthening institutional governance across the state. The Permanent Secretary Parastatals Monitoring Office, PMO, Dr. Olugbemiga Ayola Aino, disclosed this during the 2026 ministerial press briefing on Tuesday in Alausa, Lagos. Aino said the PMO had, within the last 1 year, embarked on aggressive institutional reforms designed to improve efficiency, transparency, and financial discipline across Lagos State agencies, parastatals, and government-owned companies. According to him, the reforms align with the Sanwo-Olu administration's Themes Plus agenda and are aimed at building resilient institutions capable of delivering sustainable governance and improved public service.
Collectively, help many of them set key performance indicators to drive better service delivery. We ensure compliance with government financial guidelines and ensure that fixed asset registrars are up to date. Lagos State as a whole has a very robust monitoring mechanism. Some of our functions to ensure accountability. We also know that the Office of the State Auditor General comes in. Project implementation unit of the governor's office also comes in. So we all collaborate to make sure that the Lagos State parastatals as a whole ensure good value for money when implementing the budget. Look at to strengthen accountability and improve data integrity and ensure a seamless administration of retirees' benefits, especially retirees that were non-Oracle staff that retired with a lot of these parastatals. This was conducted on the 1st of April 2026. And the whole objective was to, first of all, try and have a standardized, credible database of retired staff, retired non-Oracle staff. Also, identify irregularities and eliminate duplication. And on that particular day, we were able to develop verification guidelines for subsequent sessions. We were also able to sensitize a lot of MDAs prior to the exercise. And then we physically documented a lot of the retirees' papers. We also collected data for analysis. An outcome of the exercise, we were able to create a baseline of personnel for many of those parastatals.
In another development, Nigeria's ongoing economic and financial sector reforms have received renewed international recognition following the recent decision by S&P Global Ratings to upgrade the country's long-term foreign and local currency sovereign credit ratings from B- to B, while maintaining a stable outlook. S&P Global Ratings upgraded Nigeria's long-term foreign and local currency sovereign credit ratings to B from B-, citing improvements in the country's macroeconomic profile, external position, and ongoing economic reforms. The report stated that the US-based global ratings agency announced the upgrade on Friday, while affirming Nigeria's short-term ratings at B with a stable outlook. According to S&P, higher oil production and prices, increased domestic refining capacity, and the liberalization of the foreign exchange market in 2023 have strengthened Nigeria's economic growth and balance of payments position. The Global Ratings Agency attributed the upgrade to improving foreign exchange liquidity, stronger fiscal revenues, rising external reserves, and sustained structural reforms implemented over the past 3 years. S&P also affirmed Nigeria's short-term sovereign ratings at B and upgraded the country's national scale ratings from NGA plus NGA1 to NGA plus NGA1 from NGBBB to NGA2. The Abu Dhabi Fund for Development says it continues to monitor implementation progress across its development projects in Africa as part of efforts to ensure delivery in line with approved frameworks and to support infrastructure development in partner countries. The fund said in a statement that its key projects on the continent include the rehabilitation of the Sokoto-Bassau Road in the Republic of Togo, road infrastructure development in the Republic of Madagascar, and the Mina-Bida Road project in Nigeria. According to the ADFD, completion levels currently stand at 92% for the Togo project, 80% in Madagascar, and 45% in Nigeria. The fund said the progress reflects ongoing implementation efforts across the project, which are designed to support economic activity and improve infrastructure outcomes in the beneficiary countries. It added that the monitoring approach aligns with its mandate to support sustainable economic and social development and to apply international best practices in development financing. Meanwhile, African policymakers, technology experts, and civil society leaders have introduced a continent-wide initiative aimed at strengthening ethical oversight of artificial intelligence as government and businesses accelerate the adoption of emerging technologies across critical sectors of the economy. The Policy Innovation Center, in partnership with the Africa Hub for Innovation and Development and with support from Luminate, has unveiled the Pan-African AI Ethics and Governance Fellowship, a program designed to build institutional capacity for safer, more inclusive, and accountable AI systems across Africa. The initiative comes as artificial intelligence technologies gain traction in healthcare, agriculture, education, financial services, and public administration across the continent, raising both optimism about economic transformation and concerns over governance, accountability, and social harm. Wall Street stocks retreated early Tuesday as analysts pointed out to angst over inflation pressure as the prolonged Middle East war kept oil prices high. Equities had until recently shrugged off the effect of higher yields. Interactive brokers Steve Sosnick said of increases in bond yields. After pretending this was not a problem, I think the market has now decided that higher yields are in fact a problem, Sosnick said, but we are not seeing panic or anything like that. About 10 minutes into trading, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was down 0.8% at 49,289.53. The broad-based S&P 500 dropped 0.4% to 7,372.49, while the tech-rich Nasdaq Composite Index shed 0.3% to 26,024.82. Iran's army warned on Tuesday that it will open new fronts against the United States if it resumed attacks after President Donald Trump said he had held off launching a new offensive in hopes of striking a deal. And this is where we draw the curtain today on Business Spotlight. Thank you so much for watching. Join us again tomorrow for another interesting edition. And do well to follow us on all our social media platforms at MITV+_NG on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and X. You can also watch our programs live on YouTube at MITV+_NG. Do remember to click the like and the subscribe button. I am Layo Shobo for Lauren Show. Do enjoy the rest of your day.